One thing that I think is imperative for any music conductor to do before you introduce a new piece of music to your chorus, and I think especially at the secondary music education level, is to do a score analysis. Now, a score analysis is exactly what it implies. You analyze the score before you give it to the students. What does that entail? Well, a lot of things. You look at the time signature. Does that stay the same through the entire piece or does it change? You look at the dynamics. Is there a change in the dynamics? Is it soft in some places and louder in some other places, or does it stay the same volume the entire time? You look at the tempo, so you know how fast you're going. One thing that I always do is I look at the genre of the music and I look at the history and find out why was the song written? Who were the first people that sang it and why? And I introduce that to the kids before we sing it so they can kind of get an idea of how the song should flow, how it would feel to sing it. One of the most important things that I like to do is to analyze the chord progressions because I want to know before I start introducing harmony parts to my choir, are we dealing primarily with the tonic and the subdominant and the dominant chords in the piece? Because that's kind of what kids are used to listening to? Or is it a piece that involves a lot more of the minor chords that are maybe not used as often? Or is it a song that's in a minor key and not a major key? I want to know all of those things clearly before I present it to the kids. So I want to demonstrate how I did that with the song Wellerman. Wellerman is a traditional New Zealand sea shanty, and as such, there's not any written accompaniment. It's meant to be sung a cappella. So looking at the music, we need to determine how fast we're going. We're going in 4/4 time. The time stays the same throughout the whole thing, 4/4. We're going about 95 for the tempo, so that's a pretty steady tempo. It goes pretty quickly. And we have optional foot stamps here. And I asked the kids about that, and we practiced them, and they liked the idea of the foot stamps. Now, the foot stamps are always a challenge because you're relying on the kids to keep the steady tempo and to stay right with you. If somebody gets off, goes too fast or too slow, it can throw the whole group off. So that's a challenge, but it was something that we were really willing to try. Now, when you do a score analysis, you're going to look at the individual notes. Typically, you look at a piece of music, you have the melody line, and you see the accompaniment underneath it, and you can determine the chord progression. And you determine, is it the tonic chord we're dealing with? Is it the dominant? Is it the subdominant? And you know that by looking at the key signature and then looking at the notes. Now, in this particular case, the first whole line is just the melody line. And so we're looking at the key that has 3 flats, which could be E flat if we're in major, or it could be C minor if you're in a minor key. So our job is to determine, is this song in E flat or is it in C minor? Well, one of the first clues is, here's a pickup note, but the first actual note that you're singing is a C. So because it's a C, you're thinking that's probably the root. It's a good chance that's the root, so I was looking at like it might be in C minor. And as you follow all the way through, it goes up and down. When you get to the end of the first verse, it ends on a C. So it kind of gives you the impression we're probably in C minor here. Then we go to the chorus, and here is where you can really see how the chords flow. We start with a C in the soprano, an A flat in the alto, a E flat in the tenor, which is an A flat chord. Now, if we're in the key of E flat major, that would be the subdominant chord and it would be major. But in the key of C minor, it would be a major 6 chord. So we would write it like this. And that will give us the indication of where we're going here. So we have the major 6 chord here, which is an A flat major, all the way through here to bring us sugar and tea and rum. By the time we get here, we have a C, E flat, and a G. So we are on the root chord there, which is minor in the key of C flat. And again here, we have the E flat, A flat, C, which is our major 6 chord, in the key of C flat minor. One day when the tongue is done, we'll take our leave and go. And again, we're here with the minor root chord. And that's basically how it flows all the way through. It goes back and forth between the tonic, the C minor, and the major 6, which is the A flat. Back and forth. That's basically the only chords that go through this whole thing. But the challenge, again, in doing anything that's a cappella without any instruments is keeping the tempo and keeping the pitch. The kids this age, when they sing, they have a hard time staying on pitch if there's no accompaniment. So the challenge is to keep them on pitch. Now, as I analyzed this, I realized there's a different flow in the harmony parts between the two choruses. They have a chorus A in between the verses, and they also have a chorus B. Now, the chorus A, the sopranos are singing the melody, and the altos and the tenors are singing two different parts, but the tempo, the rhythm of the harmony parts is exactly like the rhythm of the melody. So it's a different pitch, but the same rhythm. So that makes it a little bit easier. But look at chorus B. Here's where we have a little bit of a change here. The guys are somewhat up with the sopranos who have the melody, but as you can see here, it changes a little bit in the flow of the rhythm. And the altos, again, are a completely different rhythm than the sopranos or the tenors. And that makes it a little bit challenging because whether you're singing chorus B or chorus A, it changes what you sing. So the way that I handled this with the kids is I made a recording of this song with the different parts so they could hear how it changed. Now the sopranos continued with the melody all the way through, but then the altos had a chorus A, like I said, that fit the rhythm of the sopranos, and then there was also a chorus B that had its own rhythm, same with the guys. That was a challenge for this group, but they've done very, very well with it, and it sounds really good to go back and forth between the two different rhythms in the choruses.